Hello there, boys and girls.
In this video, we will be talking about the new StarSector update.
But warning!
I will go through the most important stuff in this update and I will give you my opinion.
But Wuhan, what about the warning? Spill the tea.
I enjoy this new update immensely and I will give feedback on the different stuff added.
Therefore,
I might focus more on stuff that I think should be tweaked, and these opinions might not align with yours. Therefore, we have comment sections down below and I cannot wait to have discussion with you.
what do you like?
What you don't like? What should be tweaked in this update? All in the comments below.
Leave a like on this video.
It helps it to be shown to more people. It also makes my day.
And let's dive right in.
Let's start with story points. Very well described by the developers as do something cool points. Meaning that you can do things that would be usually overpowered, but as they are kinda rare commodity, it is not as overpowered. You have to make choices because there is a limited amount of them. Let me show you some of the ways you can use them. In Colony, you can add various bonuses to the industries. For example, by using story points on population and infrastructure, we will increase the stability of the colony by 1. You have to be careful though, because with each industry you upgrade, the cost will increase 2 times. You have to choose right. Hegemony, inspecting your AI cores, you can use 1 story point to make them look the other way. Same goes for other invasions. Engaging fleet that is smaller than you can force them to fight you head on. Have you been attacked by forces too big for you? And probably you would have to save scam your way out. By using story point, we can disengage this fleet and we can run away without safe scamming. This is an amazing addition if you want to play Iron Mode, hiring new types of officers, especially mercenary officer, that will work for you as a mercenary for a specific amount of time for a story point and some money. Basically, limited time officer. And as you can see here, you can also mentor your officers so you can change some stuff. Did you lost your ship or want to recover something? Improve your chances by difficult recovery, where you can use your story points to recover ship that otherwise would be unrecoverable. You can reassign skills using story points. And also when you go through the skill tree, you can make some of the skills elite, like this one, and this one. This will add additional power to the skills you can get. Another amazing use of story points is in so-called built-in hull mods. You have your hull mods and you can build them in. By doing so, you will consume the story points and make them built in, which will make them unremovable. However, all the ordnance points will be refunded, which can make for some crazy build. For example, my bloody conquest can use a bunch of things because I built in 3 hull mods, which made me save around 85 ordnance points.
And there are more uses for them.
You can get more contracts. You can make officer skills elite. In certain missions, you can use story points to get bonus rewards and something more epic or something cheaper. If you're engaging enemy fleet, you can use story points to use so-called emergency repairs, which will add some of the combat readiness. And yes, there is a lot of uses for these story points scattered around the sector.
Overall, in my opinion, they are great addition to the game, as there is a limited amount of them. You have to be careful
how you use them. Story points uses were not made equal. I recommend saving them up and using them mainly for elite skills, adding built-in hull mods to the ships you know you will be using, improving 1 or 2 industries in your colony, and if you don't plan to save scum, then retreat from unwinnable fights and recover only ships that are mandatory for your survival. Most of them are not worth the story point. And what if you mess up and don't use the story point the right way? Well, there is a bonus experience thing. For example, disengaging from enemy will give you 100% bonus experience. Meaning in the long term you shouldn't lose anything because you gain story points by gaining experience. And here I need your help, especially the more experienced people. Leave in the comments down below your experience with these bonus experience. Do you think you gain enough throughout the game and after you reach the level 15 right now? And do you gain the story points in a satisfying enough way in the late game? Because I don't know. As I wanted to experiment with all of these story points, I had to cheat them in. And right now, my feeling is that they are rare commodity, so you have to use them wisely and don't rely on the bonus experience. Skill points are next on our list. Long story short, the whole skill tree got revamped and now we have this. First of all, ignore this number, I was experimenting. In this update you can get up to level 15 and each level grants you one skill point that you can put into your skill tree. As before, the skills are divided into 4 categories, but what has changed are skills inside of them. Firstly, I did not enjoy this change that much, but over some time I changed my mind and I think this is a great addition to the game, especially because you have to make choice and the choice matters. For example, at the end of the technology line we have 2 extremely useful skills. First one will allow you to put more flux onto your ship as well, installing one built-in hull mod, and the other one allows you to get redacted ships into your fleet. This will impact your gameplay quite heavily because one will increase the power of your whole fleet and the other one will get you one or few overpowered ships, and the choice is yours. I played only through one playthrough, so my opinion isn't finalized, but currently I think the technology line is the strongest one, so you should go for this one, then the industry, and then we have the leadership and the combat lines. As you can see, I went for the leadership line, but I suspect the leadership line is less important in this update than the combat line, especially because this update brought extra difficulty into the fights, so you will need skills in the combat line to improve your ship so it can stand a chance. So Uran, why didn't you change it for the Red 3? Simple. What is a great addition, we can reassign skills, it will cost you 1 story point, and then you can change the skills however you like. But there is a catch. Few of these skills are locked. That means I cannot remove skills from my leadership line because this one locks it in, which makes the reassigning kinda awkward. One thing to care about: if you have elite skills, that means you used the story points on them. If you reassign them, these points will be forever lost, so oh my god, be careful. The more you play with this, the more enjoyment will you get out of the skill tree. Read through it and choose your way how you want to play this game. There are some recommendations I have to improve this thing. First of all, in my opinion, the reassigning skills is a bit problematic. It is good that it is there. First problem is the locked in skills, which will pretty much lock you out of 2 trees to change. And I think it is going a bit overboard when you reassign skills that you will lose the story points you put into the elite skills, which makes it really not worth it to change elite skills because those story points just goes. So in my opinion, story points should be refunded for the elite skills, and maybe the whole action of reassigning skills should cost 2 story points. So it is not done so often and it is not as punishing. And it would be great if these 2 skills weren't permanent. And one more thing, as the difficulty was increased in StarSector, I think you should have 5 more levels, therefore 5 more skills. You would have 20 levels with 20 skills, which would still mean if you use all of them, you would have half of the skill tree unused or unfinished. This would add a bit more freedom to the player and it would not be as punishing. We have 5 new ships, well 4 newly added and 1 heavily reworked. First one is Champion class. It is a very good all-around ship. I love flying this thing. Fury class is here if you want high mobility, mid-tier high-tech ship. Revenant and Phantom class are ships you want to use if you are using all-around phase fleet. In a simple terms, boys and girls, we have a phase/fuel ship and a phase crew transport. And heavily reworked Hyperion class if you want to teleport around. By the way, check out this video if you want more in-depth look. And when we are talking about videos, I will be soon doing another video as a colony guide, because these boys changed as well. So in the upcoming video I will be discussing these colony changes far more in depth. Long story short, they seem the same, but they changed heavily. First of all, in the beginning stages they are far less profitable. And it takes much longer to make them into industrial powerhouses. And to get them to profitable nice stage, you have to think about the new items they have put into the game. Now all around the sector you can find these kind of items. They can be put on industries, making them far more powerful. And this is the way you will make your colony again super strong. There are some weaker and some stronger items in my opinion. For example, the item you will put on commerce is one of the most strongest one, because it will directly increase the income of your colony. Or an item, when it is combined with extreme heat, you can increase your fleet's patrolling by 100%. pretty awesome. This is, in my opinion, amazing change. First of all, I didn't quite like it, but now I know that it makes the colony gameplay much more varied and exciting. It isn't so simple, just build up your colony and be super profitable. Now you will have to think about what you build. Also now you won't be only colonizing habitable worlds, but also extreme heat worlds and gas giants, because now the items make you do so. For example, because of the items, my dream system would contain one habitable planet with low hazard rating, one extreme heat planet for the ore and the patrols, and one gas giant for the volatile. Makes it varied? It is awesome, but there is still one issue, and it is caused by our favorite item, the nanoforge. Because this thing is overpowered and necessary as always, because as you all know, it increases the ship quality of all your fleets. And now as all the other items were added to the loot drops, this one is super hard to find, and if you find it, you should be considered lucky. I found this thing after the whole game nearly ended, after I explored the whole sector, and I was lucky. Some people didn't even find it, and I think it is kinda crap that this kind of important item exists, because if you don't have this, in my opinion, you are a bit screwed, and it is currently super bloody rare to find. So if you find it, cherish that moment. And there is another thing that has changed, and that is raiding. Now you can do more epic stuff with your marines. You can raid enemy colonies and choose if you want to disturb some industry or acquire something valuable. Most of the time it will be something valuable, and you will choose what you will disturb and what will you take. This is based on industries the base has, so in the end you can acquire things like nanoforge or blueprints. You will select the target, launch a raid, lose some people and gain some nice amount of loot. While on normal planets you can raid them only once, and then there are diminishing returns. With pirate bounties there is a small exploit. You can raid these things over and over again, gaining for example 1,000 supplies per run, which makes this thing quite overpowered. And this is how I ran my operations and made myself quite rich in the mid game. And now for the missions on late game. We have the regular bunch, I guess, but there has been more stuff added in terms of missions. And before we start, excuse me please boys and girls, but if I mess up and show a mission that was already in the game, sumimasen. The mind can be derpy sometimes, so I'm not sure, but I think this is new. You can find someone in the bar that will sell you very affordable ships, pretty much must buy. This lady for example offers us a product, a construction up to 1 million credits with 300% markup, which is pretty intense, but it is a choice nonetheless. We will decline. And this is one of the crazy missions in my opinion. I should perform tactical bombardment for only 52,000 credits. I will accept it, just to be sure if it's that crazy as I think it is. And now imagine you're in the early game, because 50,000 credits it's not much, and you have your beginning fleet, and you should tactically bombard this thing. So first of all, I have to defeat all of this, and then bombard them. Okay? We're gonna save, because most of the time when I get here and realize what I have to do, I don't do it. So let's do it the first time. Okay, reduced by 106 points. Okay, I tactically bombarded. And yeah, we got 52,000 credits. Are you? Alright boys and girls, to be honest, I have no idea what's with this mission. Maybe there is a way of doing this without losing any, what is called, reputation or whatever. Although I have no idea how we would do it while you are bloody bombarding their whole station. This mission bothers me. And the thing is, it is only 50,000 credits. The funny part is that in the early game, when I want to have good relationships with everyone, I would need a payment of around 2 to 3 million credits to be even worth it starting a war with another faction. And on the other hand, in the end game, when you are already in war with them, 50,000 credits is nothing. It is more bothersome to get the mission. And guys, if there is someone super smart, please tell me down in the comments below, what am I missing about this mission? Because I don't get this one. You can also buy security codes so you can sell on the black market. Sadly, I never use it, I just sell it. Which gets me to the point, I enjoy these missions. I think they're a great addition and makes the mission so much more varied, fun, and different. Also, there are hacking missions. You have to install hacking transmitters on some satellites, I guess. They are quite impossible to do, however, because usually there are some patrols to it. Which gets me to the point. The main point of the missions, to be varied, are there. But currently, just in my opinion, most of the missions have really bad rewards. For me, I experienced those missions, I got excited, but the rewards weren't worth it for me. Because the missions that show up in your feed are, in my opinion, much more worth it. I think these missions deserve to be balanced more. I think the current reward isn't worth the time invested. Sure, they are cool, there's something new, and they just fit in. But the effort to reward ratio is, in my opinion, all messed up. Story missions and late game. Before I will get to my opinions and kind of a spoiler territory, I will say something to the end game. It is still not perfect, but there have been added things that make it so much better. New rewards at the end in terms of ship and weapons, which are bloody awesome, and few challenging enemies and fights, which are amazing, and I would love to have more of them. And one of those engagements caused me a lot of bloody pain. Overall, the end game is more polished, so you can kinda say it has somewhat of an ending, which is not a great ending, and it is an ending to a sandbox game, which is a great change. And now I'm gonna get to the story missions and my opinion about them. So spoilers ahead. The story missions are, in my opinion, alright, I guess. First of all, I'm not much of a reader, especially in games, so that can play a part. First of all, I was excited about the missions and I read everything, but soon I just skim read it. I couldn't bring myself to read it all, because in my perspective the text got kinda too long. In the beginning of the story missions I read everything because I was excited about it. But when I got to the mid-story, I guess, for me it was just go there, talk to this person, then go there, talk to that person, then go there, talk to this person, then go there and do some probing. And all of this had walls of text and text. I also did a poll because I was curious how much people read it, so I'm probably not in the minority. And I had even trouble to remember the names of the main people, I guess. So overall it was kinda meh, but the end was good. For someone who doesn't even read this kind of stuff, I read all of it. From the point where the first gate blew up and we didn't know what happened, because there was some interaction with the space actually, not only walls of text. I read it. Then we got to save another person. That was exciting. The Pirate Queen, that part was great. I actually read it and I decided that I won't do her quest and I would actually raid the station. And she got pissed. We ran away and we managed to activate the gate, and now all the gates are activated. This part was great and I remember it, and the rest of it I don't remember at all. And then I remember it ended quite abruptly. So overall, it is kinda meh. The ending saves it because you get the gate and it is tied to the lore. Always when I come back, I'm surprised. This game's actually really good. Compared to the rest of them, this is the weak part. If there will be work done on this, there has to be more interactive stuff, like with the gates. But honestly, in my opinion, the story should not be the main focus on the development. Okay as it is. Maybe if something should be done, the ending shouldn't be as abrupt and it will be fine. And now we're gonna talk about something that wasn't really in the update, but has definitely changed. The difficulty of the game was increased. And the main reason is this hegemony task force has 21 officers out of 22 fighting ships. And consider this, without using skill points or fighting better officers, your maximum level of officer is 5, 6, 6, 7. You see where I'm going? Even the small ships, 6, 6, 6. This update is ruthless in terms of officers the enemy ship have. But careful, it apparently got updated in a recent micro update, I guess. But I heard it is still a thing, meaning all of the ships have insane power difference. In the late game, the difficulty spike is quite enjoyable. You still obliterate everything after getting your amazing fleet. 20 capitals, all pimped out. Built-in home mods, great. The difficulty spike is quite enjoyable then. And honestly, at that point it could even be more challenging and I wouldn't mind. On the other hand, the difficulty spike is mostly felt in the early mid-game and even in the early late game. You will probably get stomped till you get your dream fleet. I have not noticed the difficulty spike in the early game because you're just a small bugger, so most of the time you will avoid the combat. But if you get into unfavorable one, you used to have a chance if you piloted it the correct way. Nowadays, in early to mid game, if you get attacked by stronger Ludicpa fleet, you will get dumpstered because the increase in power with the aggressiveness will leave you with no room and you will lose a lot, even if you're an experienced player. But the hardest part starts when you establish your first colony, because at that point the expedition starts. You don't have your amazing fleet, you have just something from the mid game and you will struggle. Fleets of insane power will come after you, thousands of officers, and now you cannot run away. You have to defend your colony, so you better be next to your orbital station and pray to God that you will be able to catch the fleets one by one, or you will get obliterated. And what this update did to this game, it added difficulty to the whole game, but it's most felt in the early mid-game and early late game, where in my opinion the difficulty wasn't such a problem. What we needed was hard late game. But after you get your pimped out fleet, the late game gets kinda easy. And I must say, I really enjoyed the difficulty. It was something different. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was fault of the officers. It made me actually create optimized fleets so I can defend myself. In this video, I compared the difficulty between updates. Most of the people noticed it. Some of them hated it, to be honest. They said it was way too hard. And some of them enjoyed it like me. They said it is more challenging, but it is good for the game. And there is always that one guy that says, "Oh, difficult? Well, that is pathetic, boys. I can beat the whole game right now with just one ship. And if I get killed, I delete the whole game. So it is more punishing for me. You are all wussies and you just complain." Well, there is that person as well. I think that this should be changed though. I think the officers should not be always pimped out to the max, and there should be more variety. And I think the more harder pimped out fleets with bunch of officers should come more in the late game. Like, not all expeditions will be super powerful, but then you get a warning. Super expedition. Yeah, that sounds corny, but super expedition is coming. It will have all pimped out capitals with 7 level generals, which will make the late game challenging, and you won't get screwed all the time. Baluran, you said you were enjoying yourself. But you and I are probably more experienced in this game, and we played it for some time. Right now the update made the game feel like you're playing on a hard or very hard mode. Like the difficulty settings. This game, for a normal difficulty settings that we are all playing on, has become way too hard. And even nothing needs to be changed. Even the late game, well, screw that late game, right? But this update and this many officers should be a choice. You should choose if you want to have this hard game. You should choose if you want to have this kind of challenge in the game. In my opinion, this many officers need to be only in hard to very hard game mode. You should choose the challenge. Currently, on normal difficulty settings, this kind of difficulty is unacceptable. Right now the difficulty is not a problem, because the majority of the player base are experienced players who have been with this game for many years. But imagine new players, unexperienced ones. Those who still experiment with the game, they will put on the ship what they like. Maybe they will have the most of the anti-armor damage. Those players will get stomped. I will make a bold statement right now, and there is no truth to this, but just let's assume if the 1.0 update will be the update when this game will go, so to say, public. If it goes on Steam or will increase its marketing, it will be shown to the world. Already now, this is an amazing game that deserves a huge player base. So I wish that we, as a majority right now of players, the experienced ones, will eventually become the minority. The small minority. The OG people, I guess. And this difficulty can really hurt the new people and maybe even hurt the game becoming successful. Seth, as many of us, brought me to the game. I started playing the game and I got a bit overwhelmed. It might not seem like it, but for a new player, StarSector is a quite complicated game. There is a lot of stuff to learn at the start, so I stopped playing because at the time I didn't want to put so much effort into learning a game. But eventually I came back, learned it, and here we are. And now let's imagine game comes out on Steam in this state. An amazing game. And now not only that new players will have to learn the mechanics of the game, but also they will have to fight insane difficulty. And this might have or not have a very bad conclusion. This game deserves to be successful. That is why, in my opinion, this difficulty should be chosen by the player. Hard, very hard settings. Because currently even the easy mode, the 25% less taken damage, is not enough to protect the new players. Normal and easy difficulty settings should remain the same as it was the update before. The difficulty in the first playthrough will come through the mechanics and learning the game. And as I'm saying over and over again, and I will say it the last time, this difficulty, this many officers, should be chosen by player, for example by choosing difficulty settings in-game, hard or very hard. Currently it is not legendary because you don't have to exploit the game, but right now you have to build optimally. You have to build your fleet like it's meant to. An inefficient build will get stomped, and these inefficient builds will be built by new players that will come to the game.
I did not cover all the things. Things like if you fly to the sun, you can create a stable location, and bunch of other stat changes and things added to the game.
This video was more about the more impactful part of this update, how the game feels and how it works. If the next upcoming update will be the last update before the game goes worldwide. I think the game is in a great state with a lot of content, and the only necessary thing to do is to polish the existing systems in the game. Mainly the difficulty options. If, when and how this game will decide to go public is not up to me to decide. So I just can hope that this game will get the love and the attention it deserves. But what's most important, guys? This was a long video. What are your opinions? Write in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like if you got this far in the video. I hope you enjoyed, guys. I will see you next time. Ciao ciao and take care.